In October last year, a 14-year-old girl named Francesca Mani was sitting in her high school history class when she heard a rumor that some boys had naked photos of female classmates. She soon learned her picture was among them, but the images were doctored, created with artificial intelligence using what's known as a nudify website or app, which turns real photos of someone fully clothed into real-looking nudes. We've found nearly 30 similar incidents in schools in the U.S. over the last 20 months, and plenty more around the world. We want to warn you, some of what you'll hear and see is disturbing, but we think unveiling these nudify websites is important, in part because they're not hidden on the dark web. They're openly advertised, easy to use, and as Francesca Mani found out, there isn't much that's been done to stop them.
The story will continue in a moment.
When you first heard the rumor, you didn't know that there were photos or a photo of you.
No, we didn't know. I think that was like the most chaotic day I've ever witnessed.
In a school, somebody gets an inkling of something and it just spreads.
It's like rapid fire. It just goes through everyone. And so then when someone hears this, it's like, wait, like AI? Like no one thinks that could like happen to you.
Francesca Mani knew nothing about nudify websites when she discovered she and several of the girls at Westfield High School in New Jersey had been targeted. According to a lawsuit later filed by one of the other girls through her parents, a boy at the school uploaded photos from Instagram to a site called Clothoff. We're naming the site to raise awareness of its potential dangers. There are more than 100 of these nudify websites. A quick search is all it takes to find them. Clothoff is one of the most popular, with more than 3 million visits last month, according to Graphica, a company that analyzes social networks. It now offers to nudify males as well, but female nudes are far more popular. Have someone to undress, Clothoff's website asks? You can upload a photo or get a free demonstration in which an image of a woman appears with clothes on, then, a few seconds later, her clothes are gone. We're blurring it out, but the results look very real. Francesca Mani never saw what had been done to her photo, but according to that lawsuit, at least one girl's AI nude was shared on Snapchat and seen by several kids at school. What made it worse, Francesca says, is that she and the other girls found out they were the victims when they were called by name to the principal's office over the school's public address system.
I feel like that was a major violation of our privacy, while like the bad actors were taken out of their classes privately. When I left the principal's office, I was walking through a hallway and I saw this group of boys laughing at these group of girls crying, and that's when I realized I should stop crying and be mad because this is unacceptable.
That afternoon, Westfield's principal sent this email to all high school parents, informing them some of our students had used artificial intelligence to create pornographic images from original photos. The principal also said the school was investigating and, at this time, we believe that any created images have been deleted and are not being circulated. Francesca's mom, Dorota, who's also an educator, was not convinced.
Do you think they did enough?
Well, I don't know. Anderson, you work in television. Is anything deleted in the digital world?
You feel like even if somebody deletes something somewhere, who knows where these images may be?
Who printed, who screenshotted, who downloaded? You can't really wipe it out.
Dorota says she filed a police report, but no charges had been brought. She was shocked by the school's handling of the whole incident.
The principal informed me that one boy receives 1-day suspension, and that was it. So I asked her if this is all. Are there going to be any other consequences? And she said, no, that's for now, this is all that is going to happen.
The school district wouldn't confirm details about the photos, the students involved, or any disciplinary action. In a statement to 60 Minutes, the school superintendent said the district revised its harassment, intimidation, and bullying policy to incorporate AI, something the Manis said they spent months urging school officials to do.
You feel like the girls paid a bigger cost in the end
they did.
than the boy or boys who were involved in this did.
Because they just have to live with knowing that maybe an image is floating, their image is floating around the internet, and they just have to deal with what the boys did.
Colina Koltai has been looking into Clothoff and other nudify sites for more than a year. She's a senior researcher who specializes in the misuse of AI at Bellingcat, an international investigative group.
This site, as soon as you get there, it says you have to be 18 or over to use the website. You can't use others' photos without their permission. You can't use pictures of people who are under 18. Is there any way for them to actually check if you're under 18 or over 18?
You'll see as we click accept that there's no verification. And now we're already here.
And immediately you're getting very explicit photos.
And then they have the poses feature, which is one of their new settings, which is the different sex poses, which is the premium feature.
Wow. So, wow.
And this is the preview. We haven't.
Clothoff and other nudify sites encourage customers to promote their services on social media, and users often show off their favorite before and after AI nudes.
I've even seen on social media platforms people showing before and after photos of what are clearly like high school girls. And I've like reverse image searched the original photo, and they're like a high school girls like swim meets. And see, these are very clearly, these are minors, and adult content is being made of them, non-consensually, then also being posted on social media.
I think a lot of parents would be surprised to learn that you post a picture of your child on your Instagram account, your child could end up a naked photo of your child out there.
Yeah. And so you have a registration.
To nudify a photo on Clothoff is free the first time. After that, it costs from $2 to $40. The payment options often change, but there are always plenty to choose from.
It's given me everything from crypto to using a credit card for a variety of different credit cards. We got PayPal here, Google Pay.
I would imagine some of these companies are not thrilled that their services are being used by these websites.
Yeah, and in many of these cases, it directly violates their policies.
To trick online payment services, Colina Koltai says Clothoff and other nudify sites redirect their customers' payments through phony websites, like these pretending to sell flowers and photography lessons.
Say, for example, you want to pay through PayPal. So we click this, and it'll take a second. So it's now redirecting you.
It's redirecting through a dummy
website. So that way on PayPal's end, it looks like you may be purchasing anything from motorcycles or beekeeping lessons or rollerblade lessons. And so now we got to a PayPal screen, but we can see down here, it says cancel and return to innernookdesigns.motorcycles.
So that's what PayPal is being told is the website that's asking for the charge?
Yes.
PayPal told us it banned Clothoff from its platforms a year ago and shuts down the accounts for these redirect sites when it finds them. The problem is Clothoff often just creates new ones.
On this login screen here.
And that's not the only deception it relies on. Its website lists a name, Grupo Digital, with an address in Buenos Aires, Argentina, implying that's where Clothoff is based. But when we sent our cameras, there was no Grupo Digital there. It turned out to be the office of a YouTube channel that covers politics. And when we knocked on the door, the employee who answered said she'd never heard of Clothoff. Clothoff also made up a fake CEO, according to Colina Koltai, complete with what she says is an AI-generated headshot.
There is a really inherent shadiness that's happening. They're not being transparent about who owns it. They're obviously trying to mask their payments. But you look at the sophistication of these really large sites, it's completely different than, say, some guy in a basement that set up a site that he's trying to do it on his own. When these sites launched and the way that they've been developing and going this past year, it is not someone's first rodeo. It's not the first time they set up a complex network.
Clothoff claims on its website that processing of minors is impossible. We emailed what the site says is a press contact asking for any evidence of that and to respond to a number of other questions. We didn't hear back.
A lot of people might say, well, these images are fake, but we know victims will suffer humiliation, they'll suffer mental health distress and reputational harm. In a school setting, it's really amplified because one of their peers has created this imagery, so there's a loss of confidence, a loss of trust.
Yoda Suris is Chief Legal Officer at the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children. Her organization regularly works with tech companies to flag inappropriate content on their sites.
In at least 3 cases, Snapchat was reportedly used to circulate these photos. One instance, the parent told us that it took more than 8 months to get the accounts that had shared the images taken down.
Their responsiveness to victims, that is a recurring problem that we see across tech companies.
So it's not as easy as a parent sending a note through Snapchat, hey, this is happening, my child has been exploited.
It's entirely unclear why it is not a faster process. We can actually notify tech companies as well and ask them to take that content down.
And insurers, do they?
Much faster than when an individual calls. Yes. That isn't the way it should be, right? I mean, a parent whose child has exploitative or child pornography images online should not have to rely on reaching out to a third party and having them call the tech company. The tech company should be assuming responsibility immediately to remove that content.
Why are they not doing that?
Because I do not think there are ramifications to them not doing so.
Social media companies are shielded from lawsuits involving photos someone posts online due to what Yoda Suris considers an outdated law.
Under Section 230 of the Communications Decency Act, a law from 1996, so a very different world back then, online platforms have near complete immunity for any liability arising from content that a user puts on their system. The Section 230 protection is really what allows this very loose ecosystem to exist in terms of nudify apps and websites that cause harm to children.
We asked Snapchat about that parent who told us the company didn't respond to her for 8 months. A Snapchat spokesperson told us they've been unable to locate her request and said, in part, "We have efficient mechanisms for reporting this kind of content," and added, "We have a zero-tolerance policy for such content and act quickly to address it once reported." AI nudes of minors are illegal under federal child pornography laws, according to the Department of Justice, if they depict what's defined as sexually explicit conduct. But Suris is concerned some images created by nudify sites may not meet that definition.
There's this gap in the law around a nudify app that desperately needs to be shut.
What are the gaps in the law?
Currently, a nude image of a child that does not include sexually explicit conduct is not illegal. And that is a serious gap that exists for real children, and that exists certainly for images of nude children that are created by a nudify app.
Send a clear message that what the boys had done
In the years since Francesca Mani found out she was targeted, she and her mom have urged schools to implement policies around AI and worked with members of Congress to try and pass a number of federal bills.
The Take It Down Act does two things.
The Take It Down Act, co-sponsored by Senators Ted Cruz and Amy Klobuchar, made it through the Senate this month and is now awaiting a vote in the House. It would create criminal penalties for sharing AI nudes and require social media companies to take photos down within 48 hours of getting a request.
Schools don't really know how to address this. Police, in many cases, don't do much at this stage. And the sites are making, I presume, millions of dollars off this. So can it be fixed?
Absolutely. If we have the appropriate laws, we will have the criminal consequences, first of all, to deter offenders, and then they'll be held liable if they are still using these apps. We would have civil remedies for victims. Schools would have protocols. Investigators and law enforcement would have roadmaps on how to investigate, what charges to bring. But we're a long way from that. We just need the laws in place. All the rest will come from that.